Right now, somewhere in your kitchen, there is a small pink bottle. It promises relief in minutes. You shake it before you drink it. You trust it completely. But the real answer to your stomach trouble is far stranger, and it did not come from a lab. It came from the dirt. Your gut has been at war since before you were human. Long before pharmacies, before writing, before fire, your ancestors were already fighting the same battle you fight tonight after a bad meal. And they were winning it, using tools that seem almost absurd today. Start with the dirt itself. For over 100 years, researchers have documented a strange behavior across cultures on every inhabited continent. People eating clay, not by accident, on purpose. Anthropologist Sarah Young has spent much of her career studying this practice called geophagy, and her research found that pregnant women and people with upset stomachs were the most likely to do it. Why would anyone choose to eat dirt? Because certain clays, especially kaolin, act like a filter inside the body. The clay's structure binds to toxins and bacteria in the digestive tract. It coats the stomach lining. It was, in a very real sense, the first antacid. Your ancestors did not know the chemistry. They only knew that after eating a certain gray earth from a certain riverbank, the pain got better. That was enough. Think about what that means. Somewhere, a person felt sick, ate a handful of clay, felt less sick, told someone else. That is the entire scientific method, running quietly for thousands of generations before anyone wrote it down. Clay was not the only trick. Move from the ground to the plants growing out of it, and the picture gets even richer. Charcoal is one of the oldest remedies humans stumbled into, and one of the strangest to explain to a modern audience. Burn wood down to black carbon, grind it, swallow it. It sounds like nothing. It is not nothing. Activated charcoal has an enormous internal surface area, and that surface grabs onto toxins and gas-producing compounds the same way it grabs onto stains in water filters today. Ancient Egyptian medical texts, including sections of the Ebers Papyrus dated to around 1500 BCE, describe charcoal used for digestive complaints. That papyrus is one of the oldest surviving medical documents on Earth, and gut trouble already has a chapter in it. Here's where it gets genuinely interesting. Your gut is not just a tube, it is an ecosystem. Trillions of bacteria live inside it, and that ecosystem shapes almost everything about how you digest, how you feel, even parts of your mood. For most of human history, that ecosystem looked completely different from the one inside you right now. Researcher Stephanie Schnorr, working with the Hadza hunter-gatherers of Tanzania, found something remarkable. The Hadza gut microbiome is far more diverse than the average industrialized gut, and it shifts seasonally depending on what they eat. During berry season, their gut bacteria change. During meat season, it changes again. Their digestive systems are not static. They flex with the land around them. Now think about your gut. It eats mostly the same handful of processed foods, every day, all year, regardless of season. Less diversity, less flexibility, more trouble. This is not a coincidence. This is the mismatch. Your body was built by an environment that no longer exists. For roughly 2 million years, the human digestive system evolved to process wild tubers, fibrous plants, seasonal fruit, insects, and lean game. Then, in the blink of evolutionary time, agriculture arrived, grain-heavy diets. Then, blink again, industrial food arrived, sugar, refined flour, preservatives your gut has never negotiated with before. Your stomach did not get the memo. It is still running ancient software on modern input, and every so often it crashes. That is why fermentation matters so much in this story. Long before anyone understood bacteria, cultures across the globe were fermenting food almost everywhere you look. Cabbage into sauerkraut, milk into yogurt, soybeans into miso, grapes into wine that, in small amounts, was even used medicinally in some ancient traditions to settle the stomach. Fermentation does something clever. It pre-digests food using bacteria and yeast, breaking down compounds that would otherwise irritate a sensitive gut. And in the process, it seeds the digestive tract with helpful microbes. Ancient people were not managing probiotics on purpose, but they were managing them anyway, through trial, taste, and necessity. Ginger deserves its own place in this history. Used in Chinese medicine for thousands of years and mentioned in ancient Indian Ayurvedic texts as a remedy for digestive imbalance, ginger contains compounds called gingerols that modern studies have shown can speed up stomach emptying and calm nausea. This is not folklore that happened to be harmless. In many cases, it is folklore that happened to be correct, verified thousands of years later by people in white coats holding clipboards. So why does this matter to you, scrolling on your phone tonight with a stomach that will not settle? Because the instinct to reach for something is ancient. The specific bottle in your hand is new, but the impulse behind it, the search for relief, the trial and error, the passing of remedies from person to person, that is as old as the species itself. You are not doing anything your ancestors would not recognize. You are doing exactly what they did. You just have better branding. There is something almost comforting in that. Your discomfort tonight connects you to a woman on a savanna 80,000 years ago, doubled over after a bad piece of meat, reaching for a handful of gray clay because someone once told her it helped. It connects you to an Egyptian scribe writing down a charcoal remedy in careful hieratic script. It connects you to a fermenter in ancient Korea, packing cabbage into a clay jar, not knowing she was cultivating an army of bacteria that would one day be called probiotics. None of them had a periodic table. None of them had a microscope. What they had was attention. They noticed what worked. They repeated it. They passed it down. And somewhere in that long, unbroken chain of trial and error, modern medicine finally caught up and explained why it worked all along. Your gut carries that whole history inside it right now, quietly fermenting and filtering and adjusting, running a system 2 million years in the making. So tonight, when your stomach acts up and you reach for that small pink bottle, know what you are actually holding. Not a modern invention, a very old idea in a very new container.